We have always looked to the stars for saviors. They built a fortress amongst them, believing power meant safety. But even the gods of Olympus and the aliens of Krypton cannot ward off the true danger, the darkness of the mind. It began with a subtle dread. A fear so cold it bled from the shadows, tainting everything it touched. A sickness had entered their domain, a parasite of pure paranoia and psychological corruption. The lasso of truth now only revealed the most terrifying self-hatred and secret desires. It was a prison. For the Flash, the Speed Force became a cancer. Running so fast he outran his own life, leaving only a ghost behind. The very air of their fortress turned against them, kryptonite gas seeping through the vents, ensuring vulnerability. Batman's greatest enemy was never a man, but the void in his own soul. And the Joker's shadow was waiting. The monster did not attack their bodies. It simply showed them the inescapable, haunting truth of their own failures. Wonder Woman, the Amazonian princess, was forced to confront the monstrous nature of her own warrior spirit. Every fallen city, every lost life was replayed in their minds, their power twisted into instruments of guilt. Aquaman drowned in the blood of the innocents he failed to save, the ocean turning into his final grave.
Lois.
The Flash, caught in the temporal echo, realized his speed could not outrun the inevitable, only delay it in agony.
Mom.
Superman's strength was useless. He was pinned by the burden of his own godhood, a helpless, living sacrifice. Bruce Wayne saw only the frightened child who fell into the well, and the man who was too afraid to be happy. The perfect machine of Cyborg was corrupted, its logic replaced by a horrifying, pulsating, organic fear. The sword of Athena became a symbol of betrayal, drenched in the shame of a war that could never truly be won. A fleeting glimpse in the dark. A terror too fast to comprehend. The fear had eyes, and it was watching them all. Even the heroes' loved ones were turned into weapons, their images used to break the final tether to reality. The Green Lantern's power, driven by will, was paralyzed by absolute doubt. The ring turned black. His invulnerability failed him. He was starved, emaciated, drained of the solar energy that defined his existence. The Martian's final defense was his identity, which the entity tore away, revealing something ancient and unknowable. When a hero falls, the tools of hope become weapons of despair. Every gadget was a reminder of a failed promise. Wonder Woman was chained by the ancient laws of man she fought to break, the chains of tradition rusted into place. Phasing through the wall, the Flash was consumed by the quantum void, trapped between dimensions, lost forever. Superman saw through the world, but the vision was tainted. Every soul was already a corpse, a final, dark joke. The satellite, their sanctuary, became a communications grave. Silence was the final word delivered to the world. The entity was breeding. An organism of pure dread, a cocoon of their collective nightmares in the heart of the tower. The dark places in their own minds were now physical. The shadows were no longer simply shadows. Batman, the master strategist, finally knelt. All preparation, all intellect, rendered utterly meaningless. The madness was contagious. Wonder Woman, driven by the entity's whispers, turned on the symbol of hope. The speed of the Flash was now a self-inflicted wound, every step a burning retreat from an unseen attacker. The god was broken. A sonic scream of pure mental agony, a sound that cracked the very lead walls of the fortress. Their hope, reduced to a single, childish image, was executed by the entity's merciless, invisible knife. The shapeshifter was inside the lead. Paranoia was the new uniform. Trust was the fatal vulnerability. The final message was a repeating echo, a civilian plea for help, looping until it lost all meaning but terror. The lanterns will dissolve. He constructed a prison of the blackest fear, a tomb of his own making. Even Superman saw the face of his ultimate enemy in the mirror. He was the harbinger of Darkseid. The shield of a god could be rendered useless by doubt. The weight of her failures pinned her to the spot. The Flash's hyperspeed tore a rift, revealing the unspeakable geometries of the void that waited for them all. The Martian Manhunter, the purest heart, dissolved into the primordial ooze of his own existential terror. Batman's escape was cut short. His gadgetry, his comfort, was the first thing to betray his final chance. Cyborg's final command was not for justice, but for annihilation. The machine was now a tool of final judgment. The city was reduced to ashes by the uncontrolled grief of a single, unintentional energy blast. The Amazonian's hand was severed, yet she felt nothing. Disassociation was the last, terrifying stage of the horror. The screens flickered, showing the sum of their failures, the victims, the lost, the inevitable cost of being a hero. All that remained of the speedster was a pair of empty, scorched boots in the desolate expanse of time. The Dark Knight used the League's own tools against them. Kryptonite in the darkest magic were his final resort. The Fortress of Solitude, the shrine to a better past, was warped into a claustrophobic, alien nightmare cave. The final two stood alone, a contest of pure will versus absolute, unhinged, psychological corruption. Steel metal chanted flesh. A sound that echoed the finality of a choice that could never be undone. Batman deployed the ultimate psychological weapon, exploiting the Amazonians' human vulnerability. The sun god chose surrender. He slammed himself into lead to protect the world from the monster within. The entity, a fleeting glimpse of pure anti-life, the collective, primal terror of all sentient thought. The Flash returned, a desiccated husk, a final, futile warning before he became nothing but dust. The lanterns will power, a beautiful, final flower of hope, shattered into a million pieces of broken glass. Silence descended, a black blanket over the watchtower. The lights went out, one by one. All that was left was the costume, a broken symbol. A final monument to the heroes who fell to an inner foe. Wonder Woman wept, not for the dead, but for the monstrous things she had seen in her own soul. The Hall of Justice was a mausoleum. The world had lost its protectors, unaware of the horror they faced. The news blared, a fragile reality outside the terror. The world feared the silence, the void they had left. The military replaced the metahumans. The end of the gods, the return to the cold, hard logic of man. A discarded toy, a tiny splash of paint, the final punctuation mark on the end of an era of hope. The Watchtower, a silent beacon of failure, a distant reminder of the high price of being a god. A smear of blood on the clean surface. A permanent stain on the myth of the unblemished hero. All the time they had, all the power they wielded, gone. A cosmic sand timer had finally run out. All that remained was the tattered banner, the shredded colors of an impossible dream. The people looked up, not for a savior, but for a sign of safety. They saw only the empty void. The cosmic entity had won, its shadow consuming the sun, a permanent eclipse
Beware
of hope.
the storm.
The final confession of the
It's
detective,
coming.
the enemy was not outside. It was always inside. The Amazonians' final, desperate act, bearing the tools of war, a promise to end the cycle of violence. The sun rose again. The world was safe, but the cost was absolute. The heroes were gone. The last survivor walks into the silence, small and broken, leaving the horror behind. They could not save themselves from the monster they carried within. But the silence, the absence of their power, is worse than any battle they ever fought.
There are no heroes left. Only us.